Department of Defense, Instruction 854001, May 8, 2005, Enclosure 3 CD Activities. Cross-domain capability portfolio, cross-domain solution MO has created the cross-domain capability portfolio DoD in information command problems projected cross-domain capability requirements available through the cross-domain solution MO capability portfolio Intel share Interlink SCAL the ECD SMO the default complete listing cross-domain solution cross-domain services and your cross-domain service with the cross-domain enterprise service list with the cross-domain service available to deliver the DoD with the information command and cross-domain solutions, cross-domain baseline starting point, leveraging and identify with the LA cross-domain solution operational need with the DoD with the information commander available for the deployment for more information cross-domain base list. Cross-domain solution, MO capabilities portfolio, Intel share Intellect, SGov, the SI, site, USD, SMEO, cap port 2, default, each solution, cross-domain solution, based on list, successfully completed security review and assessment, SCA, it provides a statement with a comprehensive review analysis, testing, confirms, verify the requirements are the clearly defined cross-domain technology currently implements, required functionality, security requirement, non-operational environment, the US, cross-domain solution, MO with the published cross-domain solution testing standards, typo cross-domain solution, include cross-domain solution providing assisted data transfer, multi-level solution cross-domain requirements, submitted list confirms cross-domain solution MO, cross-domain solution lifecycle support as a statement, authorizing officer for the director on-site operational security assessment, site security assessment, cross-domain solution, defensive security accreditation work group, DoD, ISR, MCA, cross-domain solution, A, grant authorization for information between interconnected security domains implemented, cross-domain solution sunset, cross-domain solution sunset because component lists have reached end of life and no longer supported. There's a superseded new version, significant security relevant configuration modification no longer satisfied with the need with the capability. The solutions have determined to have a very serious security problem. DoD, ISRMC with the designated representative of the crew with the intermediate removal of the placement security with its cross-domain technology list, identifying existing emergency-enabled cross-domain related technology supporting activity technical information identified may be various. Such deployment may not have undergone security control assessment. Acquisition use of the cross-domain cross-domain solution carved with the corner of the reference X trusted cross-domain solution protected throughout the entire system lifecycle and corner of the Department of Defense instruction 5244 reference AF protected against vulnerability system of the design subject sabotage subversion system critical function component of foreign internal intelligence terrorists other hostile elements cross-domain solution system with the DoD cross-domain solution and DoD component customer selecting appropriate cross-domain solution and identify with the vendor that will provide cross-domain technology cross-domain solution with the DoD component cross-domain solution. New technology lifecycle of the risk management framework. Each cross-domain solution baseline have the program management structural support ensure that the provision lifecycle of the systemic cross-domain technology served in the corner of the Rubian X. Mission and business ownership. Cross-domain technology development integrations. Cross-domain solution security management oversight responsibility must comply with the policy perceived with the reference being an excellent BC and thanks all cross-domain technology acquisition, cross-domain solutions, acquisitions and operation deployment environment enclaved. New cross-domain technologies added with the cross-domain solution baseline according to the reference being achieved with the instruction. Cross-domain solution capabilities portfolio with the entry priority point identified with the new commercial cross-domain technology with the Department of Defense Information Command. Common problem sets provided with the cross-domain capability requirements. DoD component wishing sponsor for the new cross-domain technology placement cross-domain solution base list must contact cross-domain solution an assistant guidance to ensure that the new cross-domain related technology development activity coordinated under cross-domain solution MO before initiation. Alright, lifecycle support system at the DoD with the cross-domain solution enterprise with the most provide under cross-domain solution MO written assertion cross-domain solution program management offer the following with available to prove the divided lifecycle support is the same with the cross-domain solution added with the cross-domain solution base list. In the case of a commercial outside of the hardware or software of the developer, the list must either provide statement of the required support system and include with the acquisition cost for the provided cost schedule to serve as the maintenance of the DoD component cross the solution program management office must declare minimum cross-domain technology service lifecycle with the support availability, cross-domain available within the support of the DoD information command customer and with the Department of Defense Chief Information Director, National Intelligence Information Commander, Chief Information Officer with a memorandum cross-domain solutions like with approval of the use of and support of the quantity support agreement between cross-domain solutions owner and customers. Configuration management, cross solution security relevant configuration level the document managed through the development cycle during operational use of the life cycle of the domain technology distribution cycle control of the distribution control of the maintain the life of the cross domain solution. Product support with the great extent possible program management. All of the developers must provide assurance for the support of the hard platform operating system with the application appropriate data rights available to life of the product and assurance to include the pro planning operation and development case unforeseen software hardware obsolescence. Software maintenance outline and plan how and software updates, including patching, bug fixing, upgrades, enhancement is provided. User support outline plan with the how help desk user documentation administrator with the documentation training supplied. Additional cross-domain solution implemented guidance for the following additional guidance provided in employing cross-domain solution. The use of the directly related connections higher accredited domains, series lower accredited domains after passing the isolated device, implement enforcement applicable approval of the policy division decision. Gideon. Each domain transfer permitted. Cascading downward flow information with the range of the security level, the greater of the accreditation range in the system network component without passing through isolated devices. Implementation enforcement. All applicable approved policy decision. Each domain transfer is prohibited. Diversity of the reduce of the risk of the accessing transfer information between range and security. Use of the cross-domain solution should consider the available meet the mission and requirements of the cross-domain solution between unclassified security domains using secondary different cross-domain solution between TS security, SCI security domains. Enterprise services with the DoD component with the transit with the enterprise with the cross with the domain with the under the existing enterprise with the cross domain agency or assessment classification level of data filters flows and with the Department of Defense ISRMC guidance for the cross domain requirements not using enterprise solutions value with the transition enterprise services with the existing when the cross domain undergoes security posture review with the DoD ISRMC with the provide cross domain solution review requirement cross domain solution or review required resolve of the downgrade cross domain solution security posture. Cross domain solutions sunset list due with the reaching end of the life of the cross domain require review existing cross domain solution due with a major upgrade. The adding new customer enterprise service does not require any further approval. There's no changes required with the enterprise cross solution and a configuration cross solution. The DoD cross solution and will coordinate and enterprise cross domain solution plan provider enterprise services enterprise hosted cross domain support. Following cross domain solutions deputy Department Security Accreditation Working Group will review required changes to enterprise of the cross-domain solution agency or accreditation configuration cross-domain solution cross-domain solution tab. The Security Acquisition Work Group Accreditation Work Group will determine the actions required with the implemented recommended changes with the corner of the ACD SIP DoD component cross-domain tab at the corner of the risk management framework step 6 on table 8 enclosure 4 on the instruction. DoD components through the cross-domain services and coordinate with the service agreement of the ECDSCP. DoD ECDSP with the documentation will update with the life of the enterprise of the DoD Information Network authorization package and service provided subscriber list. UCDSMO Director Security Accreditation Work Group. User committee notified of the 12 months before the enterprise service being terminated to ensure the transit or use the community cross-domain requirements of any other cross-domain proposed schedule of the change. Terminate enterprise with the services of the ISRMC with approval depending on operational impact with the Department of Defense component depending on enterprise services. Minimal impact costs of cross-domain server, repeat cross-domain installation, minimal impact cross-domain authorization, cross-domain services posed minimum of the Department of Information Network. Example of cross-domain solution, Department of Defense connectivity, encrypted tunneling, data flow isolation, have the minimum impact determined cross-domain solution, minimal impact DoD made during pre-risk management framework step 0, table 1 enclosure 4 instruction during enclosure cross-domain alternatives deployment prerequisite pre pre Risk Management Framework Step 0, Table 1, Enclosure and Introduction, Cross-Domain Solution Select, Recommendation made with the Cross-Domain tab. Example of recommendation include with the Determination Cross-Domain Solution made with the Department of Defense and Intelligence and the Department of Security Accreditation Work Group and improve with the Cross-Domain Solution, initial with the Cross-Domain Solution Agency with the Department of Security Acquisition Work Group, determines cross-domain solution, have the minimum impact with the Department of Defense and Information Network, Department of Defense Security Accreditation Work Group, direct repository update with the track additional institutions, initial registration first, cross-domain services. The Department of Defense authorization operate authority authority office authority operations. All right. Submit letter annual with his or her respective cross-domain services enterprise cross-domain tab, stating still need with a cross-domain solution with a no chain with a cross-domain solution implementation with the DoD instruction with the cross-domain with the defensive with the security enterprise with the connection with the vision ensuring with the SCGS update with the accordance for the reference S. Initial with the DoD component written chain with the cross-domain services implementation requirement must be submitted cross-domain services outline enclosure instruction repeatable cross-domain instantaneous authorization additional repeatable instantations instantaneations. Is that even a word? Cross-domain services cross-domain services must first complete management framework process outline enclosure for instruction obtained with the authorization operated with the cross-domain service agency or authorization. Cross-domain service authorization, for example, a cross-domain solution mobile platform training system may be required with a multiple cross-domain solution instantiations. Um, Department of Security Acquisition Work Group specify the criteria that obtain the authorization repeatable instantiations cross-domain services, minimum the criteria that include with recognition, saying the hardware, self-verification, identical data type, filter flows, saying the classification level of the information networks, include with different enclaves matching, risk environment, proliferation control plan, tracking methodology, installation, risk prove with the Defense Security Accreditation Working Group with instantaneations identical to the Site Security Control Assessment Master Configuration Disk and Disk Cloning. Defensive Security Acquisition Work Group, author of the maximum number of the instantation, CDSA, DoD components, control, cross-domain service solutions, owners, and establishing tracking process approved of the cross-domain service enterprise must track instantaneous cross-domain service numbers unit with a cross-domain identifier such as hardware serial number, asset, tag, location deployment, date, local point of contacts, command communication service designated with the Department of Defense cross-domain solution owner, manager of the forward information cross-domain solution monthly when changes occur with the uploading information to the designated repository. Annual revalidation cross-domain solution instantiations is required directed by the Defensive Security Accreditation Workgroup, DoD ISRMC. Cross-domain solution exemption legacy cross-domain solution transition. Well, just cross-domain exemption, legacy cross-domain solution transition, all DoD component transition, use cross-domain solution-based list, Use Constellation as the main solution that, but the Constellation baselines list of the Constellation solutions sunset list requires that are exempted in plan of operating and maintenance detail of the transition cost main service baseline list of the cost main service listings services. If the DoD component determines if it's not available, the cost main service the list of the cost main service to implement with the operational need with the uniquely technical requirements. DoD component chief of the information standard the requesting exemption with Florida Defense and Security Accreditation Working Group. Letter must justify exemption provided analysts with the cost main service to determine the contribute include enclosure of the available security test result of the other government commercial SC of the cross main services. For playing cross-domain services, plan and operation maintenance documentation funded for the approach to recover the PONM must include the transition cross-domain services baseline cross-domain service to discover the risk mitigation strategy. Cross-domain services cross-domain sunset list exemption letter plan operation management submitted for the Defense of the Security Accreditation Work Group. Evaluation at least once a year as soon as exemption requirement is established. Published cross-domain solutions sunset day. Planning operation maintenance exemption letter for the Defense of Security Accreditation Work Group, the DoD ISRMC cross domain solution authorization custom solution authorization legacy for a legacy cross domain solution cross domain solution that with a cross domain based solution that required authorized to the implement. Use removal of means with the cross domain data transfer of the DoD component authorizing official with approval of the authority authorizing using removal of media cross domain transfer with the area of the responsible for the alternative with approval of the official designated with the O6 equivalent act with the behalf of the authorizing official. DoD components will use either establish a documented program cross-domain data transfer that includes the policy acquisition operation, disposal of the removal of media, only dispose of the personnel like authorized to conduct with the cross-domain data transfer, visual media properly accounted for the market securely unmanaged in accordance with the volume 2 of the reference I with the reference AC. Processing request the crossing domain urgent operational requirement. In those cases, the DoD has the urgent mission criteria of the cross domain requirement of requesting organizational immediate contact with respect to the Defense and Security Accreditation Working Group as representing the sponsor of the request, representing the Department of Security Accreditation Work Group, representing the review requesting operation request and supporting evidence if the request urgent operational requirement cannot flow normal cross domain service approval of the process of the Defense and Security Accreditation Work Group, representing the contact Defense and Security Acquisition Work Group Chair, Defensive Security Acquisition Work Group Secretary, identify layout, specific urgent cross domain requirement, and processing cross domain support evidence. Defensive Security Acquisition Work Accreditation Work Group will evaluate justification submitted evidence control of the applicable to the DoD component cross domain solution and part of the Defensive Security Accreditation Working Group representative imposed with the operational requirement connection to the high risk outside with the previously with the Defensive Security Acquisition Accreditation Working Group accepting of the decision Defensive Security Accreditation Working Group Chair consult with the respective of the mission principal authorization DoD ISRMC representative of the DoD ISRMC Chair barring objective of the Defensive Security Acquisition Working Group Chair approval of administrative interim of the congressional um okay, I guess it is. Um Cross domains SA to meet urgent operational requirement provides sufficient time to get with the requirement of normal cross domain service solutions approve of the process, adjunction process, flexibility, capability, manage and time sensitive mission critical cross domain requirement, especially within 24 to 40 hours, 8 hours necessary. DSA's accreditation work group secretary will notify the Defensive Security Acquisition Work Group membership within the term of approval of the cross domain service agency owning the DoD cross domain services and experience with the cross domain requirement with the Defensive Security Accreditation Working Group full community request cross domain services. Question requesting for processing urgent operation CDS requirements should be the directive of the Defense and Security Acquisition Work Group Secretary 301 22 225 2905 DSA Meade NSBMX DSA Defensive Security Acquisition Accreditation Working Group Mail Mill. Defensive Security Accreditation Work Group membership can be found at Intershare Intellects SGov, Intellinks SGov Gov site and Defensive Security Acquisition Accreditation Working Group default. Reciprocity. Congressional Domain Services, Domain Technology Body Evidence will be evident advanced information sharing with a reduced network cycle times with the cross domain capability requirement. DoD Information Credit Command use BLE and risk management framework process support reciprocity cross-domain services with the DoD BOE consists security authorization package security plan include architectural documentation network technology SRA plan operation management authorizing decision according with the reference B security inventory installation procedure security testing CD technology security control assessment plan process results say CD technology security test procedures, artifacts labeled if available and highly desired to copy the baseline software application, and only security control required to be tested. Cross-domain solution deployment of different service and installation environment will be executed earlier. Test procedures not be re-executed. Requesting recipient documentation cross-domain service baseline cross-domain service forward to the point of contact listed domain information sheet. Foreign releasing cross-domain technology, all requests disclosing, releasing, or transferring the DoD cross-domain solution, cross-domain technology, associated information, foreign government mission partner, consistent with the reference NOP, CNSSP, the number 8, reference H, procedure, chairman, joint chief of the instruction 6510006B, reference AI, cross-meet disclosure criteria, condition, limitation, corner of the enclosure 3, reference N. DoD component organizational requirement, foreign release information on the cross-domain, release cross-domain solution, cross-domain technology, contact with the Department of Defense component, foreign disclosure officer for the cross-domain solution enterprise, uh, before release, will they ensure that they comply with the reference to NONP, NQ, and AI. Conclusion 4 of the cross-dimensional process of the DoD risk management process, framework process, different process of the DoD risk management framework process overview, cross-domain services that says approve the component with existing new information system, authorization boundary, authorization information security systems using the DoD risk management framework process, in accordance reference being shown figure, Department of CD risk management framework, cross-domain services enterprise conduct with the DoD organization executed step 1, the cross-domain risk management framework process, cross-domain services, component information cross-domain services, authorization boundary described B for the instruction simplicity with the text on tables, enclosure, term, IS address both situations. Enclosure will discuss the risk management framework, include with the risk decision points required in deliverable, organizational position, primary, responsible, hooking risk management framework task, and level effort to complete risk management framework task depending on the status of the information system. Cross-domain services component with cross-domain service separate authorization boundary chains existing new cross-domain services with a determined information system owner, information owner, authorization officer with the cross-domain service to enterprise with warning detail with the request risk management freedom framework guidance reference B NISC specification 837 AJ pre-risk management framework step 0 engage at CDS first task organization CD requirement engage cross-domain service and enterprise documents capability requirement document determine need cross-domain service to perform initial analysis done by cross-domain service at table 1. And my eyes are having trouble reading, so we're going to skip that. Alright, identify what the cross-domain capability requirement should occur with the earliest possible and information service development and lifecycle with as soon as organization determining with the requirement existing information services as soon as needed. Identifying organization must contact cross-domain service enterprise. The DoD component does not have cross-domain services. Function provided via the agreement with the DoD component cross-domain service enterprise. Cross-domain service enterprise owner identifying owner conduct in the initial analyze cross-domain capability requirement available cross-domain server that determine cross-domain server available to meet with the requirement. Available to identify with available type of the alternative cross-domain capability requirement who assume the primary and supporting rules, risk management framework, action, cross-domain selection. Risk Management Framework Step 1 categorize the information system. Completed the characterization information system, cross-domain system, component, cross-domain system, IS, and corner the reference Y in Table 3. Determine the security impact information system cross-domain service component of the cross-domain service to the IS that is included with the information processed, stored, transmitted, additional, categorizing information system cross-domain services component, and also consider connected environment, connection, partners, environmental threat, Department of Defense instruction, compared the Department of Defense information that network boundary protection requirements, categorizing review information system cross-domain services component available, determine where control process data, independent cross-domain services information security program protection requirement volume 3 and 4, reference I, for example, available the requirement may driven with a higher rating of the cross-domain service input with to do with the handling certain type of data, technical data, special space data. Result system categorization document section 1, reference O, document CDA will become information service SP with listed reference B. Risk management framework, selected security control safeguards, countermeasures employed to protect the confidential integrity, availability, information service, information properly management, mission business system risk. More information on task risk table 4 may be found in reference AJ, confidential integrity, availability level, dissemination according to the reference Y with during step 1, categorization established baseline set with security with the NSIT special publication 853, reference AK to be used in conjunction with the CD overlay. CD overlay can be found CDSM governance policy, Intel shared interlinks gov sites USDSML. Another table. The next step is of the tailored list control of the describe of the reference B with the account with the operating environment, the other factor of the result of the set control of the status with the inherited control of the other controls. Um, shit. Cross-domain solutions risk management framing task 1, task 2 can be performed in parallel. Risk management framework step 3, implementation security controls for the step of the information system owners. Cross-domain solution implement security controls cross-domain stuff the operational environment according to the Dodi risk management framework outlined in reference BC table 5. Risk management framework. Step 4, access security controls. Step, implement the security control of the cross-domain service with an independent evaluated C table 6 cross-domain solution may provides multi-components, hardware, software filters, may or may not operate component larger information system. Must also be independently evaluated. So step and determine the extent of the which security control is implemented correctly, operating and intended producing desired outcome and meeting security requirements. Guidance assessment can be found under cross-domain solution MO, cross-domain security assessor guide, and the system authorization request template reference AM. Yeah. Table 4.2, that cover the type of assignment of the cross-domain solution after completion of the technology security control assessment information system recover the cross-domain SA security site security control assessment cross-domain solution operational environment differing primary supporting rules security cross assessment showing table 6. So 3 components for the security control assessment information system cross-domain solution component in a separate information system. Cross-domain technology security control assessment certified laboratory performance security control assessment. Assessment steps include review implement security control security relevant configuration cross-domain technology security control assessment required. Select the solution. New technology requires new TOE significant security relevant configurations or change new filters as required. For cross-dimension technology has already been assessed. One requirement of the new TOE and having significant change in configuration changes only security controls impact require testing and SCA. Certified validated cross-domain technology meeting functional security requirements before placing cross-domain technology cross-domain baseline list. Site security control assessment. Site security control assessment perform the operational environment information system ensure that the properties of the configuration appropriate inherent command controls, adequate security deployed environment, sufficient implementation technical controls, and special operation configuration include the red team operation unknown vulnerabilities with the system deployed on operational environment is required. Penetration testing. National Security Agency can directly oversee with the DoD organization testing unknown vulnerabilities, attempt and circumvent and defeat the security feature with the new cross-domain technology, new version of current cross-domain technology. Risk management framework. Step 5 authorizes step of authorized IS operational base determination risk or organizational operations status include risk authorized disclosed classified controlled unclassified information individuals other organization nation resulting operation information system decision risk assessment accessibility DoD step consisting information system authorization operation authorization operation authorization to operate the Security Accreditation Working Group, DoD, ISRMC, CDSA for access transfer information between different interconnected security domains. See Table 7. All right, risk management framework. Step 6: monitoring security controls. Cross domains for the operation, information security state with the monitor, accordance with the reference, read the security control monitoring. Step change with the cross domains for the information system, cross domain components may not affect security controls as of the relevant result on security control effectiveness, accordance with reference B and AM. Information system owner with cross domains over the provider of the reference U and A implement rigorously comprehensive ongoing monitoring program. The addition of the periodic inspection identifying subparagraph C and E if done correctly. These ongoing monitoring activity streamline periodic assessment. Activity. Okay. Active defense cross-domain server the information performed to enable the management, modification, enhancement, required security control, monitoring conduct with an outside with the cross-domain server the operation coordinated with the designated with the organization providing cybersecurity. Implemented once every 3 years, require the directed on-site validation inspection. U.S. Transcom DoD component cybersecurity inspection will be formed. Cross-domain server the deployed environment inspection. Cross-domain services focus expertise analysis. 2. Cross-domain service owner and self-assessment will be recorded in a designated centralized repository. In addition, periodic vulnerability self-assessment with the cross-domain server to identify with the Defense Security Accreditation Working Group. Revalidation, accreditation, security acquisition using reference B and A and M. Why not? Actually, Alright, 2. Revalidate cross-domain server to claim with the most satisfactory security review of the governing DoD information network owner. Revalidation memo will be submitted to the authorization officer authorizing operation stating current cross-domain server that still require cross-domain security relevant configurations have not been changed. Supporting documentation includes satisfactory vulnerability self-assessment, cybersecurity inspection, improved planning, operation, and management for enclave. The documentation provided cross-domain server to enterprise completion of these actions is from mobile device platform, ship vehicles, aircraft from specified requirements authorized by the Defense Security Accreditation Working Group. Whoa. Cross-domain security acquisition issued with the Defense Security Accreditation Working Group, DoD, ISRMC, validated up to 3 years. Accreditation Working Group, ISRMRC, may issue cross-domain service acquisition less than 3 years base assessment risk of the requirement. Closure 5. Cross-domain and risk management framework roles. Closure 5. Cross-domain risk management framework roles. DoD, ISRMC, DoD, IRSMC, providing governance approval, enterprise domain services, cross-domain solution technology support, Defense Security Accreditation Work Group, according with the reference with the Department of Defense Risk Executive, Department of Defense ISRMC website found at Intellipedia, Telelinks, SGov, Wiki, DISN, GIG, Flag Panel, Proof Risk with the DoD authorization, cross-domain server, the cross-domain solution, cross-domain technology, authorized delegated authority with the Defensive Security Accreditation Working Group, Enterprise cross-domain server, the cross-domain server, the cross-domain service agency, the cross-domain server, the approval within 1 to 3 years based on the DoD IRSMI criteria. Collaborators community with the National Security System Enterprise Risk Management based on common cross-domain solution risk governance reciprocity process. Approved delegates approval of the DoD component of the planning, operation, and management, replacing legacy cross-domain solution, non-cross-domain solution based listing operating beyond specified cross-domain solution sunset list letters, exemption cross-domain solution, not uncross-domain solution based list to oversee cross-domain solution agency provide guidance to defensive security accreditation work group cross-domain solution tab. Resolve the issue brought forward defensive security accreditation work group, DoD connection authorities, defense security accreditation connection approval of office to implement cross-domain solution interconnection meeting cross-domain solution security accreditation conditions instruct U.S. Stratcom DoD chain command disconnection and removal cross-domain solution found operating without approval and non-compliant with an instruction approved security configuration forward unresolved resource issue with the Department of Defense Chief Information Executive Board DoD Chief Information Officer resolution approved with delegates approval of authority reference T Defense Security Acquisition Accreditation Work Group under authority direction DoD ISRMC Defense Security Accreditation Working Group cross-domain tab risk assessment cross-domain recommendation. Approve, disapprove of the cross-domain security agency with the cross-domain solution delegated to DoD IRSMC. Approve of the cross-domain server to make for the cross-domain service agency recommendation DoD IRSMC. Views approved criteria cross-domain security agency after consultation DoD IRSMC reverse reviews reference maintain Angel share intellect SCO site DSA default. Cross-Domain Services tab under authority direction of the Department of Defense ISRMC Defense Security Accreditation Work Group the CD Cross-Domain tab analyze the DoD component of the cross-domain capability, request cross-domain solution recommendations, identify cross-domain solution alternative, include not using cross-domain solution. Reading analysis, cross-domain alternative recommended you for the enterprise cross-domain service, the enterprise hosted cross-domain solutions baseline point-to-point cross-domain services leveraging a node of the DoD component operation cross-domain service to meet with the DoD component capability requirements. Review summary, security control assessment result in accordance with the instruction Department of Defense risk accessories cross-domain solution, cross-domain technology, concur, non-occur, cross-domain risk assessment, cross-domain service, cross-domain technology, identify risk, recommended risk management, mitigation, weakness, deficiency, security control, identify security control assessment, for risk assessment, finding recommendations, security services provided, defensive security accreditation work group. For review, recommended changes, existing control, implementation suggested supplemental security controls to be used, review cross-domain technology proposals, determine new cross-domain technology, satisfy control, estimating capability requirement, making recommendations, security control assessment, new cross-domain technologies under cross-domain solutions MO and evaluate proposal light existing commercial government and development cross-domain service appropriate. Identify recommended best agree cross-domain solution implementation enterprise with the cross-domain service to minimize the development redundant with the acquisition equivalent cross-domain services for risk review. View periodic vulnerability assessment, revalidation, cross-service accreditation, according with the Department of Defense ISRMC approved criteria, provide the Defense Security Accreditation Working Group to work to risk, and submitted volunteer self-assessment security status cross-domain solution completed to acquire with the Department of Defense ISRMC criteria, provide technical risk assessment mitigation recommendation, DoD components cross-domain solution planning operation and manage determinate enterprise services, enterprise hosted site with the content technical support with cross-domain requirement based on the DoD component validation cross-domain requirements, cross-domain tabs, site, intershare, interlink, site, CD tab, site pages, home. Cross-domain services, manage the DoD component, cross-domain service related activity, maintain cross-domain capability, provide enterprise cross-domain services, cross-domain service base list, cross-domain technology list, cross-domain capability portfolio cross-domain services as well as identified with the cross-domain service cross-domain power baseline list capability gaps under cross-domain services MO coordinate with the DoD component cross-domain related security control assessment and authorization activities for submit absolute under cross-domain services MO with the DoD cross-domain forms see cross-domain tab Tiger teams working group to represent the DoD component cross-domain needs maintain awareness component cross-domain capability requirements, deploy cross-domain services, support operation, exercise, research development, testing, and evaluation, and MS, provide support organization documentation guidance for the procedure, documented supported risk management framework process, provide cross-domain support, combat commands, author other organization in accordance with support agreement, support combat commands in accordance with the Department of Defense Directive 5100-03, reference AO, reference W. Support DoD component cross-domain planning efforts, coordinate with the modernization plan, cross-domain sunset list, cross-domain solutions with cross-domain solution information services owners, including the reference DoD component process. Support DoD component planning and the cross-domain services, support operation of the research, development, testing, evaluation, MNS, oversee management of the Department of Defense component, cross-domain services, capability requirements, conduct analysis, DoD component requirements, advocate of the requirement of the Department of Defense component overall requirement process, support analyst, cross-domain services, ultimate of the DoD component requirements, limit cross-domain tab amendment requests as required, track service access requirements have not been met, revalidate requirements necessary, prioritize cross-domain capabilities, requirement coordinating information services owners. The information owner priority will be based on mission with the readiness ability to execute the specified assigned mission when the requesting organization cross-domain services not provided, maintains priority of the DoD component unsatisfied requirement, unavailable technology, ensure the new cross-domain technology is compatible with DoD component overall enterprise architecture existing DoD component information services appropriate, minor acquisition lifecycle of the DoD component cross-domain services oversee with the DoD component security testing, evaluation, implementation, cross-domain services, cross-domain implementation, security review, configuration, site assessment plan in accordance with the instruction and enter updates for the correct cross-domain service the operational data that include updates, passes cross-domain service the Viva, the designated with the centralized repositories, SGS, GIAP, DISA, SML, ML, ensure the new cross-domain related technology acquisition program development activity coordinated with the under cross-domain SMO before initiating request security control assessment, new cross-domain technology verify validated their function compliance security requirement and enabled. Ensure new security cross-domain technologies complete verification, trade validation, functional over the security requirement they propose the listing on the cross-domain base list on list. For information service over the development software over the detailed design, document, testing plan, proceed with the new documentation as required. University cross-domain service MO arranged with the certified laboratory with the DoD component cross-domain technology security control assessment is required. Maintain cross-domain solutions assessment inspection monitoring track assessment inspection resulting findings recommended course of action response assessment inspection results if required in coordination with the information service owners perform risk rating activity define risk assessment process cross-domain solution connection decision. Cross-domain annual cross-domain solution revalidation voluntary self-assessment with the DoD cross-domain information service owners revalidation memorandum must identify common mission requirement that conform security relevant configuration unchanged conforming enterprise service to enterprise cross-domain service site can support cross-domain requirement based on the Department of Defense component annual validation cross requirement provide statement of security self-assessment. Cross-domain service provider provide cross-domain service listed with the U.S. cross-domain services MO capabilities perform and DoD components. Some of the services may be fee for service base. Identify with the publisher of the cross-domain service that available is for the basic information and network subscription service released annually when changes occur. Identify, provide Department of Defense component UCDSMO available additional level of cross-domain service arrays to develop senior level service level agreements, support agreements, and enterprise cross-dimensional services. That's the FBI, DIOG, Title 42, U.S. Standard Code, network subscription services, leased annually, changes occur. Ensure enterprise cross-domain services provide use of multiple DoD components compliant with cross-domain service baseline sunset other cross-domain guidance provided hosted cross-domain service DoD components in accordance with the support agreement and SLA. Implementation maintains requires security control cross-domain solution, cross-domains, and solution environment in accordance with the cross-domain security control overlay direction of U.S. Stratcom orders, directive with vulnerability alerts, and tasking orders. Incorporate new cross-domain capability requirement in enterprise. I kind of knew that. Enterprise cross-domain is service hosted with a cross-domain service that is required conduct. Conduct site security control assessment. Enterprise cross is service to enterprise hosted. Cross-domain service with assisted implemented reference security control reference Y. Cross-domain service overlay reference AM. Site security control assessment schedule may be coordinated with the CDSA. SCA3 Security Control Assessment Roles Related Cross-Domain Service Cross-Domain Technology CSA. This role is the DoD CSA Organization Conduct of Security Control Assessment Cross-Domain Technology must be evaluated by the National Security Agency according to the CDSMO established criteria cross-domain technology SCA. Conduct cross-domain technologies control assessment test effectiveness cross-domain technologies validate with the cross-domain technology implementation required functionality discriminate requirement placement cross-domain service solution based list provide U.S. cross-domain solution MO capacity conduct cross-domain technology security control assessment DoD test evaluation requirements. Conduct provide security control assessment support. Security assessment support may be provided organization with a DoD component external organization fee for services best in accordance with the DoD components guidelines support agreement. Prepare security control assessment package control. Cross-domain technology included SEA statement and comprehensive review and analysis test of the form confirmed requirements correctly defined with the cross-domain technology correctly implementation required functionality security requirements system authorization request inventory installation procedures security testing procedures documentation issue finding and recommendations. Yeah, issue ensure requires security control assessment with the documented complete and according with a reference to AM and available over the Congressional Directory tab. Penetration tester penetration coordinated with the Congressional Testing Technology SA conducting penetration congressional testing congressional no okay that's what I don't cross-domain technology search vulnerability examine source for the best practice attempts of the subvert with the protection mechanism cross-domain technology SCA security control assessment is conducting coordination with the CDSE security control assessment risk management framework process validates selected security controls as part of the site security control cross-domain service cross-domain technology in accordance reference BNY and AMM. Support Department of Defense component risk assessment provided system authorization requests in accordance with the reference B because they did it twice, once a year. The authorization congressional sorry, I have name pages to read still. Cross-domain service solutions based implementation agreed set of security control with accepting the risk of the organization operation authorization required before cross-domain solutions agency assess transfer information with different interconnected security domains accordance reference B instruction authorizing officer offices designated representative of the risk management framework task, risk assessment task, complete training, qualified personnel will document in accordance with the reference B, authorization officer designated representative responsible for the information service only with the authorization officer information institution. ISO and owners, contact DoD components, congressional, the domain service that explain with the before contract obligation organization congressional cross-domain service solutions cross-domain technology service that provide information required with supporting SCA conducting cross-domain technology site security assessment the deployment information security cross-domain solution component under the authority accordance with the reference being the information DoD component guidance complete cross-domain authority risk management framework process coordinate information on cross-domain service enterprise operate cross-domain solution including the cross-domain solution agency coordinated with the network server that provided and server the information information not owned. DoD host of the DoD information system comply with the information owner with requirement Section 9 enclosure. Conduct defense acts, protective measures, coordinate with the support with a cybersecurity service provider, cross-domain solution environment, and according with the reference. I see the U.S. RAM Cabinet Order Directive, the alert and task ordering. Ensure the cross-domain solution enterprise with the current and accurate information stand with cross-domain solution point contacting cross-domain solution enterprise update designated lab repository. For the lifecycle information coordinated with the information owner annually with the DoD component derived designated with the organization requirement the reference X. Support Department of Defense component cross-domain server the risk assessments providing level impact of the harm organization due to the threat and V causing cross-domain solution available consistent with the reference U. The direct provide periodic self-assessment conducted assessment protection mechanism. Security controls implemented provided cross-domain services activity assessment. Review security relevant configuration operation administration cross-domain solution operational environment verify cross-domain solution utilize prior per approved security relevant configuration documentation requirement. Identify possible security vulnerability documentation finding assessment report the information planning and A&M to support cross-domain service A and A validation. Validate cross-domain requirement operating DoD component to intact cross-domain solutions. Validate enterprise service to enterprise hosted that cannot cross-domain services requirements. Cannot support cross-domain requirements. Information owner provides the information cross-domain capability requirement include data type, file extension, support structured, unstructured data cross-domain. Agency provides specification, information flow coordination, information system owner to include source information classification, data flow, high to low, low to high, and data. Structure parameters, cross-domain solution filtering, data transfer protocol requirements throughout with the throughput required. For the annual validation needs appropriate authorization cross-domain solution enterprise provide guidance content originating information required marking dissemination metadata, preparing text, image, voice, and video according to the DoD instruction A32002 reference AP volume 2 reference I. Coordinate with the information system owner with the DoD component cross-domain risk of the assessment providing level impact of the organization due to the threat, even causing unauthorized disclosure, authorized modification, authorized destruction, and allow for the information stored by the DoD cross-domain solution risk assessment consistent in reference U. ISSM will carry out cybersecurity risk management framework responsibility according to reference B and C. ISSO will carry cybersecurity risk management framework responsibility congressional domain services with the according to reference B and C. ISSE develop and implement information security based selected security control security requirement formulate security architect recommendations design security service recommendation coordinate application fix patch for the demonstrate recover the procedure for the event security breach research emerging technology support and enhancement and development in efforts. Okay, AO, authorizing official. BO, body evidence, cross-domain, and appendix, commander, U.S. Strategic Command, cross-domain solution authorization, cross-domain element, cross-domain technical advisory board, chief of information officer, chairman, joint chief of the staff, committee of the national security system instruction, committee national security policy, defense of the intelligence agency, directing the national security agency, central service, security service, defense of information security agency, defense of information security agency, director, national intelligence, DoD chief of the information officer, DoD directive instruction, DoD information network, DoD IA security clearance working group, enterprise CD service, information assurance, intelligence community, information system, we'll call information security risk committee with the information security engineer manager, information security officer, joint worldwide intelligence communication modeling simulation memorandum agreement, National Institute, Standard Technology, National Security Agency, personal identifiable information planning, action milestone, research, test, development, testing, and evaluation, reliable human review, risk management framework, security assessment report, security control assessors, sensitive with compared information system development lifecycle, secret internet protocol router network, global information grid, interconnection approval processing system, security information security officer, security level agreement, security plan, target evaluation, top secret, unclassified domain services management officer, the Undersecretary of Defense Intelligence, Undersecretary of Defense of the Policy in U.S. Strategic Command. So my thought was there was a base list, and so if you there's a base list, a licensing, and for adult films, and then we go on to how can it not be? And your body of evidence, your authorization official would be the bank with the SRC 33, and it might be one blood test. But don't worry about it because you got the body of evidence, your authorization official of the bank, your cross remains with the subscription list, an appendix of baseline matters. You've been added to a national security agency if you do process adult film security services, and those will be the special passports. If you never did it, it's your privacy. But do remember that you can't look up some places in children in CIPA due to some library laws adopted at the library, and some are different in each state, and there's a steering committee behind that.